And Shailene, in playing Lindsay, it's so much more than just the protagonist's girlfriend. You know, it's our sort of way into seeing him as a fully formed character, I think. So how did you get to talk to Lindsay? Did you read anything about her? How did you prepare to play her?
I did get to talk to Lindsay, but not until 3 months into production. Oliver had met with Lindsay multiple times. Joe had met Lindsay. Kieran Fitzgerald, the co-writer, had as well. And so I really trusted and valued their stories that they had to share about her and their observations of her personality and who she was, since I wasn't able to do that beforehand. And then she did have a pretty a wide range of past social media posts predating 2013 that I sort of investigated and sifted through. And because she's a self-portrait photographer, there was a lot of her art online. So a big part of it for me was trying to identify and capture this enthusiasm and this extroverted nature that she expressed through her art and through stories that they had shared, but also just try to keep it as grounded and truthful as possible without going too far into trying to 100% recreate who Lindsay Mills actually is, because I didn't have the opportunity to meet her.
Thank you. I think we're ready for the first question. You've already got a mic, I think. Yep. No?
Yeah.
My name is Hans Morris from German National Public Radio. First of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for a great movie. I have a twofold questions, Mr. Stone. There's a line in the movie that irritated me, which says, fighting terrorism is just an excuse for massive data collection. I thought that was a little bit overstated in the sense that terrorism is a real issue. We had it here in Europe, as you know, pretty bad. So intelligence agencies need information if they want to fight terrorist groups. So, but the real question, obviously, is how do you solve the interest of conflict between security and the privacy issue a certain every citizen should have. And if I may add, there's another line where Ed Snowden is reflecting about the future, and I wondered if we have digitalization big time and Industry 4.0, which means a lot of robots are going to come in. Are we going to have one day?
Say that last question again.
Yes. If we, about the future,
yeah.
If we get robots coming in through Industry 4.0, digitalization big time, does that mean that analysts will be, or could be, in the future robots, and we will have no Edward Snowden in the future at all? Thank you.
Are you British?
German.
German. Well, you have a British accent. So I would think you share the British point of view on security at all costs. I fundamentally disagree with that view. And the quote you mentioned, which is a very nice and good quote, came directly from Mr. Snowden in one of his newspaper articles. We took it from that. And he obviously believes that because he's been in that business, and what he's talking about is a huge waste of resources in tapping everybody, surveilling entire population. You end up looking for a needle truly in a haystack, truly. And not only he, but Bill Binney shares that point of view. He worked there, and he devised the original worldwide code called Thin Thread. That program was not used. It was like the Nicolas Cage character says in the movie, a cheap $3 million homegrown guerrilla-type program, and it worked. And that was thrown out in favor of a big, gigantic $3 billion project called Trailblazer, which ended up being used right after 9/11. And that, too, Trailblazer has not shown any demonstrable evidence of results. And we keep asking, show us the results. We all believe in stopping terrorism. Terrorism is a threat. But like Reese Ifan says in the movie, the United States is behaving like the real threat is not ISIS, but the real threat is Russia, China, Iran. That's what they really seem to be thinking about. And they don't take this terrorism quite as seriously as you British or as the Europeans do, and they should. And Mr. Putin takes terrorism very seriously, too. So this is a debatable line, but we should have that debate. We should have that debate. And Snowden has called for it. He hoped the people would have it, and we haven't. The security people keep telling us, we really know what's going on, but we have to do this for your own protection. For your own protection. Well, if that's true, and we all have to sign this agreement with the government, then give us some evidence of what you're doing. How do I know your system is really working? Because in 9/11, the whole thing broke down. The information from the NSA, which is supposed to pick up all the signals around the world, correct, in 1999, completely goofed it. They didn't even follow the bin Laden signals to the safe house in Yemen, in Sana'a, which they had. They had the phone number and everything. And they sent agents to, two of those people that passed through there ended up in San Diego as hijackers, living there. Never picked up, never passed on to the FBI. FBI, if you want to go through the 9/11 Commission, and that's just the surface, is a bundle of error. A bundle of error, as is, and the CIA did do better, but frankly, they didn't get through to the president. So, you know, let's not talk about overdoing it. Let's do our job correctly. Let's do the detective work that's required. Most of the information on terrorist actions, it's a limited group of people, and they tend to communicate, and when they do, people in our countries get leads. We're very good at this. Britain, Germany, you fought terrorists back in the 1970s, 60s, 80s. It was in Germany especially, in Britain, the IRA. We've been through this before. All of a sudden, we have to change all the ground rules because this is an emergency according to George Bush, and you're either with us or against us. This is not a solution. This is illogical and hysterical and overreaction. The other question I completely don't understand. Maybe you could tell me, but can someone interpret the question if he wants an answer?